What you want to get into first?
Let's do Calvin. What up, Cal? What up,
Calvin
Snoop?
Brodus.
Yeah. What up, Snoop?
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg, Long Beach. So yeah. Mr. Snoop. You know, his ascendant fits so perfectly. I mean, this whole chart is just well written. Almost if it was written himself, right? I mean, you got to consider ascendant as Aries always as someone that is just a fighter. They're courageous. They are not scared to take risks. You know, I
Yeah.
haven't yet to meet an Aries ascendant unless Mars is extremely damaged, where that individual is not designed to put themselves out there in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And the other thing, it makes you athletic. And he did play sports. In fact, he's still a coach to this day.
Yep.
So shows number one, first and foremost, that who he is and who he embodies is definitely represented by Aries ascendant. Not only that, the ascendant Lord in exaltation is aspecting the fourth house, which also shows sports in high school and such. So definitely his chart is, it shows the ability to put yourself into positions where you might have to take a risk. You might have to be embarrassed. You might have to be rejected. But the thing about rejection is it takes 1,000 no's to give one yes. And obviously, right, he had the courage and the ability to put himself in those right times and right positions. We're going to talk about those times here in just a second. But the other thing is that, and I'm just giving you kind of the overall purview of the character, right, of the nature of Snoop, so that you know why he does what he does. The thing is that, when you have an exalted ascendant Lord, it's almost like the sky's the limit in regards to really getting things done. The ascendant and the ascendant Lord is so crucial to being situated well, right? It just kind of undergirds the chart and to see what's possible from there. And all of the charts that we have, they're all very much placed fairly well, right? But the thing that makes the individual a really good MC, a master of ceremonies, right? And you have to remember how this works. Like the MC back in the day, right? Where we get the word MC, master of ceremonies. So how when you come out and you would, like you had like the recent fight between Mayweather and the white guy, I don't even know his name.
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, right? You have an
Yep.
MC, right? The guy that comes out, hey, we have such and such and such, and we have in this corner. That's an MC, right? Technically speaking, master of ceremonies. And so the MC, right, in the day when hip hop was beginning, was the person that would get on the mic, rock the mic to a beat that, because we didn't have like where we have it now, where every beat has every hip hop song has a beat to it. And back in the day, you would pick a song, right, or pick a beat and rap to it. And then, that would get the party started. That would get everybody going. So you would be able to control the crowd, right? In fact, Rakim, Eric B and Rakim, right? They got a song called Control, Move the Crowd.
Move the crowd.
It move, right? So if you're an MC, you can move the crowd. You get up, hey, and then they'll say hit to this song, So to be able to switch on beat, right? To be able to stay on task with multitasking, because you're throwing something on the beat, you're following the beat, and you're entertaining the audience, right? That's what an MC is.
Yeah.
And so that takes a skill. It takes a craft. It's a craft. It's not just something you get up and do. Anybody can lay down lyrics and sit down and but to actually be in the midst of something transforming into something else takes takes a skill. And so what you see here is that Mercury is one of the primary constituents of the gift of gab, right? To have the word flow, to have the word play, to have the schemes, right? To connect things that don't seem to connect, right? And make them fit very well. That's Mercury's job, right? Bar none. Without Mercury, there's no hip hop. Not in the sense of what we would know as considered MCing, right? Or rapping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mercury is the doorkeeper. He opens the door. And, they would consider themselves a lot of times nowadays, they say, I'm a reporter, right?
Yeah.
Just a hood reporter. I'm telling you what's going on in the hood, right? So that reporting, that conveying of information, of messages, ideas, concepts, right, it's all governed by Mercury. We always have to see that prominent in a hip hop artist chart, in an MC's chart. That planet has to be placed extremely well because it governs the sign of Gemini, which is the sign of communication. So it definitely connects directly.
I got something to add to that, and you tell me if you've seen it as well. And like I said, this is just me just kind of glancing at certain charts. I've seen from a lot of rappers that do pretty well, that's known, that have good skill. A lot of times I see Mercury and air signs or connected to an air sign some way. I just seen it a lot. I'm not, I don't know how much credence it got to it, but I've seen it a lot.
Here soon. Yeah. We're gonna see it. You see it over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's a repetitious process. And what better, when Mercury. Now here's one, right? Because we were going to sidebar, but KRS, right? He got Mercury in Cancer, but guess where it is? Where it is? No, which part of Cancer?
Oh, it got to be in Ashleisha.
So Ashleisha can, water, because water signs have a mercurial aspect to them in the nakshatra portions, right? So it depends. But you're right. I have noticed that Mercury in air signs seems to be the kind of rule of day for them to be extremely, popular, right, or well known, or well thought of, right? KRS is he's not underground, but he's kind of old school to where if you don't know what old school is, you don't know who KRS is. Everybody knows who these individuals are. Biggie, Kendrick Lamar, and and Snoop Dogg. Everybody knows who they are. Right.
Absolutely.
Young to old, right? So, that's what we talk about with that transcendence. When you get to Mercury and Cancer, it's very personal, right? So your message can be deep, but it's more of what you feel and what you're vibing instead of the general message that everyone can comprehend. And with Snoop Dogg, he's perfect because he's got Mercury in Libra, right? His ruler, the ruler of the third house. Now here's the other piece. Let's kind of go down a little checklist to kind of note what makes an excellent MC. Number one, as I stated, Mercury has to be placed in a very prominent position that can't be damaged by any kind of conjunctions. Saturn with Mercury will typically slow it down, right? And it's funny. Have you ever heard of Havoc?
Yeah.
Havoc has Mercury in Gemini.
Okay.
Again, Mercury in air signs, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? A perfect example, right? Again, and you'll see it over and over. Something in air, right? Pac, sun is in Gemini, right? But I'm saying we didn't do Pac, but I have to adjust it. I'm really thinking sun. I think he's Gemini Ascendant. I really do, right? Because that Aries Ascendant with the moon in the 12th kind of fits a little, but when you look at that from that ascendant, it changes everything. Like when you look at it from Gemini, Mercury is in the 12th lord, so that puts the ascendant lord in the 12th, right? So that means he's born or made, literally he's engendered in prison, not engendered, but he's in the womb in prison. Venus is in the 12th and Saturn's in the 12th. And of course, mother being in, everything shows perfectly. So we might have to do another show on that just to kind of rectify that a little bit. But it is, his sun is in air signs, just in Gemini. Gemini usually plays some type of role in those that are extremely successful, or the third house, right? So let's kind of go. So Mercury, as a rule, number one, has to be strong. Can't be conjunct Saturn. Can't be conjunct really K2, right? K2, those would be the two that would shut Mercury down. Not to say as far as hip hop is concerned. There could be other things that can come out of Mercury combinations like Saturn and K2. That can be mathematics, different things. But for word flow, right, it's Mercury, right? And Mercury can become conjunct Rahu. That can happen. Mercury be conjunct the moon. That can happen, as we're going to see, right? Mercury can be conjunct Venus. That also is an excellent planet for poetry, wordplay, right? Gift of gab. So those are the things that you can look for Mercury's conjunctions. Mercury's placements in the third house, right? In the fifth house, in the seventh house, ninth, 11th, or first. Any of those can also cause, right, that gift of gab to manifest. So those are your houses, that's your planet. Now, and those are your combinations as far as the conjunctions are concerned. Remember, Saturn K2, no go. You might see some exceptions to the rule. If you do, definitely put them in the chat. Send them to us. Let us know, because I'm always open to seeing new and different charts and new possibilities of those potentials. But I'm pretty sure I've never seen a Saturn Mercury conjunction with a person that has the gift of gab. Usually, just doesn't happen. Now, Mercury's out the way. The third house is a very key house. When I say the third house, we got to look at, of course, the ruler of the third in the chart. So it could be any particular planet. It could be Venus, Mars, Saturn, any of them. If the third lord is strong, along with Mercury, that also is a tell-all for a person with hip-hop abilities.
Yeah.
So looking at Calvin, right, we can see that Mercury rules the third house.
Yep.
Right. So Gemini is the natural sign of the third. It's naturally there. The third lord, Mercury, is in the seventh house. So let me explain to you. Whenever a planet's in the seventh house, that is a very strong placement, because it aspects the ascendant. It aspects the person. Not only that, it's in the Kendra house, and Kendra houses are typically stronger as far as the strength potential in a chart. 1, 4, 7, or 10 are usually strong for a placement. So we've got Mercury ruling the third, in the seventh, in a Kendra, and it's also aspecting the ascendant, which all of those three of those things boosts Mercury's abilities. It gives him that talking, right? Now, here's the thing. Because Mercury rules our speech and our sound as well, he has that kind of like smooth, that player, that real nice, melodious voice, right?
He's like, I mean, for me, when I think of Libra now, I think Snoop is an excellent example of what a Libra,
smooth,
Libra energy,
real smooth.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely.
Pretty much cool with everybody.
Right. I mean, even in the movie, according to the movie, whatever, he fell out with Pac because he was cool with Big.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's that Libra get along gang with everybody, right?
Yep.
So, everybody, I can't be mad at him. Everybody has their thing. That's just how he rolls. But, the thing is that Mercury is in a very powerful yoga. That's what really boosts his particular gifts of gab. It's not just Mercury being in the seventh. A lot of people have that. Doesn't always give that superfluous wordplay. But, right, it's conjunct Venus in a Malavya yoga. Malavya yoga. And a Malavya yoga, that's when Venus is in 1, 4, 7, or 10 in its own sign, right, or exalted. You can see Venus is in Libra in the seventh house. That's extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not only that, he has the sun in a canceled debilitation, right? In Nichabang Raja Yoga. So you see that cancel because it's in the first house from the moon, right? Which is the Kendra from the moon. And its ruler, right? The planet that would exalt it is in the sign it's in the sign that it's in the sign with the planet it's sitting in. So that also cancels the debilitation. So he's got three strong cancellations, right, in the chart. So again, that sun, right, and that also speaks to his father and things like that, right, in relationship and such. Right, we won't go into that in this particular. Maybe we'll have a show for an exclusive show for just Snoop Dogg at some point, maybe in another season. But nonetheless, right, that Venus conjunct Mercury or Mercury conjunct Venus. Remember I said earlier when Mercury is conjunct Venus or the moon, it can create a prolific writer or a prolific speaker. Well, you see, they're both there, and they're all in that yoga. That's a very powerful combination. So, rightfully so, he's where he is on top as far as his career is concerned. Now, let's even look at the timing of this, right? If you can show that Saturn Dasha, right, this is when he began to blow up. Saturn Dasha starts with a 91, right?
It actually starts in
84.
84.
84.
But he hits.
Right? He hits Saturn Venus Dasha in 91.
Yeah.
That's what blew him up, right? That's what got it started. And considering, right, Saturn, right, rules the 10th and the 11th. So there's your career, there's your prominence, there's your associations and networks with others. So your career is boosted by the association and networks with others, right? 11th house is that network. Saturn is in Venus's sign. So when Saturn runs its course, Venus, the planet that rules it, is going to have say. It's going to have sway. It's going to have influence. It's going to have an impact on how Saturn's Dasha comes out. And take a look. Saturn Venus, as of August of 91, right? That's literally almost a year before he drops his first real, and I'm talking about, was it 90? Yeah. When he started to do, what is it? Deep cover.
Deep cover. Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Not
Deep cover came out in 92. Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's his first, and that was connected through Dre. Again, that's the 11th. That's the 11th house connected to the 10th. Not only that, Venus as the sub-dasha, it's in the 7th house of partners, friends, connections. So right there is perfect timing for him to begin that. That shows you that's when he begins his career. Right. Interestingly enough, and throughout all of the Saturn Dasha, his career just got stronger and stronger and stronger. So you can see that this particular positioning of his chart is definitely one that gave him his prominence. That
Saturn made him work for it though. Like he didn't. It was a climb, but it was a Saturn. He had a lot of stuff he had to overcome.
Yeah, he had to pay his dues. Like for example, when he hit that Saturn Sun Dasha, right? Mm-hmm. It's amazing. He hits his Saturn Sun Dasha, and in fact, hold on. If we look at the Saturn Venus Dasha, runs into trouble right in Venus, Saturn, Venus. And it's funny you just said that. Because you said he had to pay his dues, right? He had to go through some stuff. So when he hits Saturn, Venus, he's climbing, he's making his way, but then he's got a Saturn period that kind of squeezes into that. And so that's literally begins when he has his case. He catches a murder case.
Yeah.
Just you can see the timing is pristine.
Oh yeah.
Continuing on, right? I mean, he beats it in 96, right? He beats the case in 96, right? Saturn Moon, considering, but Moon again is still with Venus. Venus is a real strong, powerful anchor in this chart. It creates an extremely powerful yoga in that 7th.
Yeah.
That's hard to defeat. So, at this point, once he's out of his Saturn Dasha in 2003, he's in his Mercury Dasha. And Mercury is the planet that we really look to see if that person is going to really take off. He was already established by that point, but Mercury definitely elevated his career. Because, with Saturn, you got that death row type of still feel, that death row type of energy still lingering,
Yep. Somebody just pointed that out in the comments.
Right. Right on, right on. Yeah. In fact, yeah. He was on death row. Exactly.
Yep.
And Saturn is death, right? So, you see what I'm saying? Right? I mean, these things are just they're uncanny.
Yeah.
Um, you know, in 2003, he reestablishes himself. I mean, and I'm saying he's been remaking himself the whole time. You know, when you leave death row and you're kind of out there and remaking yourself, then by all means, right? When Mercury comes around, now you're a solo, not because he was always a solo artist, but he was an artist that could stand alone. His gift of gab is really now seen to come to rise, and all throughout the Mercury Dasha, right? All throughout
Yeah.
the Mercury Dasha.
Yeah.
Now it's funny, we just got news today, right? I don't know if you've heard, folks have seen the news, but he was just announced Def Jam's president today, right?
Yeah.
Interesting, right?
Very,
And
very.
so, being Def Jam's president, right? He's in a K2 Dasha. So, we talked about it. He's paid his dues, right? He had his Mercury, right? Run of the mill, run in the game, meaning that he got himself out there. You know, he always stayed influencing. He always stayed relevant. You know what I mean? Like some of these hip hop artists, they're powerful, like KRS, like Rakim, like a lot of the old school old heads that are just powerful to me, the real MCs. But they didn't keep their relevance. And
Yeah.
this individual, he's still here and he's gonna be here, right? Snoop is gonna
Yeah.
be
Cause
here for a while, right?
hit that Venus Dasha next in a few
Oh man,
years.
and sky's the limit again.
Yeah.
Isn't that beautiful? He gets that and the Venus Dasha. That's just beautiful. That's beautiful karma, right?
Yep.
So but K2 is one of the things that, and people say, how K2, Ra? K2's a flag, right? And it's in the fourth house. It's a Kendra. Remember, 1, 4, 7, or 10. And if the Lord of that particular Kendra is in another Kendra, that's a very powerful particular yoga. K2's in the fourth, ruled by the moon. Moon is in the seventh, right? And it's with Venus. You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
boom. And the seventh house, folks, is the 10th from the 10th, which is also promotions and gains in career, upgrades in career. Right? Perfect. Right? Perfect. And it's like he's going to end on a nice note, right? This life is really going to have a nice little way to party him off. So, big ups to Snoop.
Indeed. Big up.
Definitely. So let's do